Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another video for you guys, another Swagkage nature release video, and this time it's focusing on wind and lightning release. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and watch the videos. We'll start with lightning release since it is one of my personal favorites in the entire series. So let's go ahead and start.
Welcome back everybody. Following last week's fire release video, today I'm going to be talking about lightning release. Lightning release is commonly seen among ninja present in the village hidden in the clouds, but it's not associated with any particular clans. A person can perform lightning jutsu by forcing their chakra to vibrate
Okay, I probably need to be careful here since there's some anime clips.
so that it takes the shape of a high-frequency alternating current. This current is then condensed into physical electricity, which can be used in various different ways. And really, there are a lot of different things that lightning jutsu can be used for. There's a right-on technique for pretty much any range or situation, and I'll give some examples.
This one, I'm not gonna lie, is one of my favorites. When Sasuke first pulled this out, I thought, holy shit, this looks so goddamn cool, and it made you realize just how versatile these abilities can be and how different people would apply the properties of electricity and use them in combat. And to me, Sasuke is the one who properly showed you just the kind of abilities that lightning release can be, or the type of things that lightning release can be used for. And he used it, in my opinion, maybe even better than Kakashi. The only two shinobi that I can think of that used it probably better than, or as good as Sasuke did was, of course, you have the Raikage and the one before him, the previous Raikage. Those are the two who used it, in my opinion, almost as good as Sasuke, where they would use this thing called, I think it was called Lightning Chakra mode, where it would vastly increase their speed, defense, and attack. And it's so goddamn smart. And again, it does make me wonder why more people with lightning release nature, whose nature type is lightning, don't use it. And you know, I do feel like it might be a case where Kishimoto realized that this ability is kind of overpowered, and maybe it's better if I limit it to where only a few people would use it. And we do kind of see Sasuke use it in the Boruto era. Every time he I think he used it when he fought Momoshiki, and I think he also used it when he fought Jigen, if I remember correctly, or maybe I'm misremembering. Anyway, let's continue.
Examples. Raikiri, Chidori, and Lariat are meant to be used at close range. Chidori Iso and Chidori Nagashi are examples of techniques meant to be used at mid-range. And Kirin and Lightning Beast running jutsu are two examples of long-range lightning release techniques. As a matter of fact, various Raikage have used lightning release to create a lightning cloak that enhances their physical capabilities and protects them from harm. These Raikage also use a blend of ninjutsu and taijutsu called nin taijutsu that typically isn't seen with any nature release except for lightning. Lightning chakra can also be infused with a blade to increase that blade's cutting power, though doing so isn't quite as effective as doing the same thing with wind chakra. Due to how quickly a person's chakra must vibrate in order to create a lightning release jutsu, lightning chakra tends to move at incredibly high speeds. Right-on techniques tend to be incredibly lethal as well, as they're very prone to piercing through a target's body and causing pretty serious injuries. There are plenty of other purposes that right-on jutsu can fulfill, like I mentioned earlier. Like, for example, after infusing his sword with lightning chakra, Sasuke forced Yamato's body to go completely numb. Lightning jutsu can also cause paralysis, which I would assume is done by shocking the nervous system. Then, of course, there's the obvious fact that lightning attacks probably hurt really, really, really bad, even when they don't pierce through your body. Lightning attacks can just be used to blow somebody up if you want them to. For example, Kirin is just a really big fuck you explosion attack that can demolish an entire building and hits the ground in less than a second. So lightning release jutsu can serve pretty much any purpose you want them to. As I mentioned in the Chakra Natures video, lightning is strong against earth and weak against wind, but it doesn't have any special relationship with either nature. That is to say, lightning release typically isn't used in conjunction with wind release, and the same can be said about lightning and earth release. That's not to say that somebody can't use a lightning release and an earth or wind release technique at the same time. It definitely has happened in the series before, but doing so won't cause anything special to happen. Since water conducts electricity, however, lightning release can be used in conjunction with water release. Electricity can be sent through a water release jutsu to either increase the damage caused by the water or increase the damage caused by the lightning. And also there's black lightning. Darui and the third Raikage use it, and it looks really cool, but I don't know what the difference is between it and regular lightning. So yeah. Anyway, next week's wind release. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Okay. So there it is. There's lightning release, and I just want to discuss real quick about what he said about how people can imbue a lightning release to basically make certain techniques a lot stronger. Like for example, increasing the cutting power of Sasuke's sword, and he mentioned how it doesn't. Apparently, it's not as effective as wind release, which he's 100% correct. But my only question is, how come we don't see this? We do see a little bit of it with Earth release. I think we see characters like that one guy who was always with Inoki, whose name kind of escapes me at this point, where he basically covers his hand with earth and then uses it to punch. And I do wonder why we don't see something like that with fire release. Like imagine someone would basically coat their hand in chakra and then light it on fire and then use it to sort of punch someone. And I feel like that would be very, very useful, but we don't really see it all that often. And to me, I do wonder why that's the case. I mean, we see it with lightning, we see it with wind, like what we see here with Asuma, basically coating the knife that he has with chakra and then adding his wind nature release in order to sort of sharpen it to basically increase its cutting power. And I do wonder why we don't see it with fire release. To me, I feel like that's kind of a waste, and I wonder if that can also extend to other nature release, like for example particle style. What if you could coat your hand in particle style and anything you touch can just immediately disintegrate? Or for example, there's lava release, and there's what else oh, there's ice release and boil release. And I just wonder why. I do kind of wish we would see more of that. Anyway, let's move on over to wind release. Let's just go ahead and watch the video.
Alright, so how is everybody doing today? Today we're going to be talking about wind release. So coming off of the hinges of the fire and lightning videos, this video might make wind release seem a bit underwhelming because it's easily the most simple of the 5 basic nature transformations. But that doesn't make it bad. I personally think wind release is pretty cool, but that's irrelevant. Let's get to talking about it now. One thing worth noting about wind release is that Kakashi and Yamato both agreed that it's pretty rarely seen. I'm not sure if they meant in the Land of Fire specifically or in the entire ninja world, but regardless, it's most commonly seen among shinobi in the Land of Wind, or more specifically, in the Village Hidden in the Sand. Wind ninjutsu are often performed by a person forcing their chakra to become incredibly thin and, by extension, incredibly sharp. Most of the time, these techniques are meant to be employed in mid to close range combat, but there are a good number of examples of long range wind jutsu present in the series as well. Since chakra needs to be made sharp before a wind jutsu can be performed, wind release techniques typically deal a lot of cutting damage, as you'd expect. Regardless of the scale of the technique, a wind release jutsu will typically always cut up anything in its path. Whether it's a tiny projectile or a massive gust of wind, pretty much anything it comes into contact with is getting cut to shreds. Also, since wind is just air moving really, really fast in a particular direction, wind release techniques can be used to redirect or outright reflect other projectiles in ninjutsu. Also, since wind jutsu are so good at cutting things, it's very easy to combine wind chakra with a blade to increase that blade's cutting power by a massive amount. Asuma's chakra blades are a very good example, as they can cut through pretty much anything that he wants them to, with no problems whatsoever. While blades are a good tool for enhancing close-up wind release combat, fans are an incredible tool for enhancing long-range wind release combat. While this only happens in the games, Madara and Obito are both capable of using their gunbai fan to augment their wind release techniques, and Tamari's entire combat style revolves around using a fan in conjunction with wind release techniques. As I already established in the fire and lightning release videos, wind is strong against lightning but weak against fire. While there have been no cases displayed of a wind release technique overpowering a fire release technique that weren't in filler anyway, it is possible for a lightning release technique with intense enough vibrations to pierce through a sufficiently weak wind release technique. When in the hands of somebody capable of accessing more than one nature transformation, wind is typically used in conjunction with either fire or water. Wind works well with fire because it fans any flames that it comes into contact with. This increases the size and destructive power of a mass of fire, and just leads to a more powerful jutsu. As far as water release goes, wind...
And we saw a pretty good, I don't know if he's going to mention it, but we did see a pretty good example of it in the war arc when Naruto released his Rasen Shuriken, and then Sasuke released his Susanoo Flame Arrow. And it basically both combined and it created an even more powerful ninjutsu. So, yeah, I mean, that does happen. Although, since now I know this was just in the game, but there was an example where Sasuke, if you pick Naruto and Sasuke together and if you do the whole team attack thing, it would it would create an ultimate technique where Naruto created a Rasengan and then Sasuke would add the Chidori on top of it, and it would create this incredibly destructive ability. Even though I know it probably can't happen because they are kind of opposites, you know, in the actual lore of the world. It would be pretty cool if we do see something like that at some point in the series, but I guess it's just not going to happen.
Ninjutsu can be used to increase the concussive power of a body of water that they come into contact with, which can increase the destructive capacity and overall effectiveness of a water release technique. Anyway, that's pretty much all there is to wind release. Next week is water release. Catch you guys later, everybody. Swagkage out. Bye.
Okay, I think that's the video. Yeah. So, okay, there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I'm sorry that these videos are kind of short. It's just that the videos themselves that we're watching are basically a little over 3 minutes long, and unfortunately, they don't really have a lot that needs to be explained when it comes to, you know, nature release. Although they are still pretty fun to learn, and of course, as always, we will continue this until we, of course, get to the very last one. We heard him talk about water release. I think that's going to be the where is it? Water release. Anyway, whatever. Next time it's going to be water release and something else. We'll see. But anyway, guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much again, as always. Hope to catch you for the next video. Bye for now.